Okay, so good day everyone. Today I will be discussing the continuation of theories of causation and crime. So for the continuation, let us proceed with the criminal gangs. So it exists in stable lower class areas in which close connections among adolescent, young adult, and adult offenders create an environment for successful criminal enterprise such as joining gang. So in short, when we are referring to criminal gangs, it is only a gang that is formed or created inside the society. So a very short guide for you that when it comes to criminal gang, it only pertains to a group of people who are willing to join the gang inside the society or created inside the society. While the conflict gangs thrive in highly disorganized areas marked by temporary residence and physical deterioration. So they are willing to fight to protect their own and their gang's integrity and honor. So in short, they are using the code of omerta or code of secrecy. Now, whatever happens or discussed inside the gang's environment, they will still remain inside the gang's environment to protect their integrity and honor. So that is the purpose of the conflict gang. So they are willing to fight to protect their own and their gang's integrity and honor. And then third, retreatist gang, double failures because they are unable to gain success through legitimate means and unwilling to do so through illegal ones. So they have tried crimes or violence but are either too weak or scared to be accepted in criminal or violent gang. So in short, double failures, nagdadalawang isip sila if itutuloy ba nila yung isang criminal behavior, illegal behavior or not. If pag ginawa ba nila yon, ano yung consequence or possible consequences? Or kapag hindi ba nila nagawa yon, ano yung makukuha nila? May reward ba sila doon or wala? So if sa tingin po nila magbe-benefit sila doon, mostly magbe-benefit sila, so meaning to say, they are willing to do illegal acts. But if they think that they will not benefit on the actions that they will be doing, so they will not do such illegal actions. So that is why they called as double failures. So retreatist gang, take note, double failures. So next is the social process theory. So under po niyan is the drift theory. So, in terms of drift theory, we have the neutralization. So, they viewed the process of becoming a criminal as a learning experience in which potential delinquents and criminals master techniques that enable them to counterbalance or neutralize conventional values and drift back and forth between illegitimate and conventional behavior. So, neutralization theory meaning those are the unethical behavior that is based on the morals of the society. Why? Because there is a subterranean values. So, they are morally tinged influences that have become entrenched in the culture but are publicly condemned. So these are values that are condemned in public but may be practiced privately. So for example, viewing pornographic films. So it is practiced in private but it is condemned in public. Especially yung drinking of alcohol and gambling is an example of subterranean values as long as they are condemned in public but it can be practiced privately. So next is the drift, refers to the movement from one extreme of behavior to another, resulting in behavior and drift away from the rules of the normative society and participate in subterranean values. So meaning po, subterranean behavior, meaning po there is a connection between one place to another place or another society. Like for example, so in society A, there is a strict rules and regulation, while sa society B, there is no strict rules and regulation. That is why yung nasa society B can be drift to a society A since mas gusto nila yung pinaghihigpitan sila. While yung mga nasa society A, since matagal na silang naka-experience ng paghihigpit, so possible na mag-drift naman po sila into society B, wherein yung rules and regulation po is not strictly prohibited. So that is what we call the drift. So next, let's proceed with the different techniques of neutralization. So there are 5 techniques of neutralization. So first, we have denial of responsibility. So young offenders sometimes claim their unlawful acts were simply not their fault. Sabi po, they made me do it. So for example, si A, inutusan niya si B na batuhin si C. Ngayon, nagalit ngayon si C kay letter B kasi binato siya. And that is why ibine-blame niya naman si A dahil napag-utusan lang naman daw siya ni letter A. So meaning, there is a denial of responsibility. So merong actors, may offender. So for example, sa denial of responsibility, we have A, B, and C. So si A, inutusan niya si B na batuhin or saktan si letter C. Ngayon, si letter C po ay nagalit kay letter B. And si letter B naman po, dinedenay niya yung kanyang illegal action or wrongdoings since ang sabi niya po ay napag-utusan lang naman po siya ni letter A, na hindi ko naman gagawin tong isang bagay na to kung hindi po ako napag-utusan ni letter A. So sabi niya, it's simply not his or her fault. That is why there is what we call denial of responsibility, na meron lang nagtulak sa kanya na gawin yung isang maling bagay, kaya ngayon siya yung napapagbintangan pero dinedenay niya yung responsibility niya sa taong nasaktan niya dahil ang sinasabi po niya ay napag-utusan lang naman po siya ng isang tao. So next is the denial of injury. So criminals are able to neutralize their behavior by denying the wrongfulness of their act. So they have insurance. So for example, a teenager who gets caught selling illegal copies of music might say, "No one got hurt, so I don't see why I am in trouble." So meaning to say, si teenager, nagbenta po siya ng illegal copy or yung mga pirated CDs. Ngayon, dahil bumili ka, binayaran mo, wala ka namang concern nung nagbayad ka, kasi hindi ka naman niya pinilit na bilhin mo yung CD na yon pero binili mo, kaya ang sinabi niya ay wala siyang kasalanan doon sa isang act na ginawa niya. Kasi hindi naman siya nanakit ng tao, nagbenta lang siya. It's just happen na binili ng isang tao yung kanyang binibentang CD without even knowing na yung binili niya palang CD is pirated. Sabi niya wala naman siyang sinaktan, kaya hindi niya nakikita yung sarili niya na nakasakit siya ng ibang tao. Nandun na yung lapses, nandun na yung pagkakamali na nagbenta siya ng pirated CD pero hindi naman siya namilit at hindi siya nanakit para lang bilhin yung CD niya. So in short, ang may fault po ay yung ibang tao kasi binili niya kung ano yung meron dun sa isang tao without even knowing na yung binibili niya pala is pirated. So there is what we call denial of injury. Next, denial of victim. So, criminals would neutralize their acts by maintaining that the victim of crime had it coming. So, in this case, the criminal would blame his victim. So, halimbawa, yung isang asawa na laging ina-abuse yung kanyang asawa emotionally, sasabihin niya na deserve naman yon ng asawa niya kasi lagi siyang sinasabihan ng masasakit na salita. So, ibig sabihin, nanakit siya, dinedeny niya yung pagiging victim since sinasabi niya nanakit lang naman siya dahil lagi siyang sinasabihan ng mga masasakit na salita ng kanyang asawa. So, in short, there is what we call denial of victim na hindi kita sasaktan kung hindi mo ko pinoprovoke na saktan ka or wala akong naririnig sa'yo para masaktan kita or para ako ay makasakit sa'yo. So, next is what we call the condemnation of the condemners. A criminal would view the world as a corrupt place. So, teacher shows favoritism. So, basically, pwede po yun na may mga teachers kasi din po na they show favoritism even sa parents natin or other person na nakikita po natin na may favoritism sila. But in other cases, in terms of the condemnation of the condemners, for example, a student caught smoking on school property who blames their parents for doing the same thing when they were younger. Meaning to say, na-adapt po or na-imitate po ng bata kung ano yung ginagawa ng kanyang mga magulang. Na kaya lang naman daw siya laging naninigarilyo kasi everyday, yun yung nakikita niya sa kanyang mga magulang. Kaya nakikita ng condemnation of the condemners that the world is a corrupt place. Kasi madali po tayong ma-imitate, madali po tayong maengganyo sa isang bagay because of our curiosity. So next is the appeal to higher loyalties. So only cowards run away, and the novice criminals often argue that they are caught in the dilemma of being loyal to their own peer group while at the same time attempting to abide by the rules of the larger society. So halimbawa, may mag-asawa dyan, yung asawa niya ay manganganak na, pero yung isa dyan na mayaman, naiwan niya yung kotse niya sa labas ng bahay nila na nandun yung susi. Ngayon, ano po yung only cowards run away? Na etong taong to, dahil manganganak na yung asawa niya, wala siyang masakyan, walang matawagan na ambulance, therefore, ninakaw niya yung kotse. Pero hindi naman talaga niya gustong nakawin yun, pero it's just happen na may magbe-benefit kasi dun sa gagawin niya na action, which is manganganak na po yung kanyang asawa. So there is an appeal to higher loyalties. Kasi nandun siya sa dilemma na hindi naman talaga niya gustong magnakaw, pero it's just happen na na-attempt lang siyang magnakaw kasi may taong magbe-benefit sa gagawin niya na action. So, only cowards run away. So, next is the differential association theory. Suggests that people commit crime by learning in a social context through their interaction with others and communications with them. So, sabi po dyan, tell me who your friends are and I will tell you who you are. And birds on the same feathers flock together. And when they flock together, they fly so high. So, ito po ay kilala na po na quotation wherein it is a reflection of who we are as a person. So, ano nga ba yung mga principles ng differential association? Una, criminal behavior is learned. It is not inherited. So, as I said nga po in the previous topic natin, yung criminal behavior is natututunan daw po, but it is not inherited. But meron pong proof na ito po ay nai-inherit according to the family of Jukes and Kalikak. And then, criminal behavior is learned in interaction with other person in a process of communication. Na hindi naman talaga magagawa ang isang criminal behavior kung wala ang communication. Third is the principal part of learning is criminal behavior occurs within intimate personal groups, which is correct po na if it happens in a group inside the society, there is a huge possibility na yung criminal behavior po ay ma-imitate po ng mga nasa loob ng isang society. At ito po ay natututunan natin. Hindi man tayo pinanganak na totally criminal kung wala naman pong bloodline sa atin yung pagiging criminal, but ito po ay nagiging epekto or naa-adapt po natin sa ating environment. So next, if criminal behavior is learned, then learning include techniques of committing a crime. Syempre naman po na hindi natin maiiwasan na hindi tayo makagawa ng mga techniques na dapat meron tayong unique techniques para hindi mahuli ang isang tao na kumukumit ng crime or nagko-commit ng crime. And then the specific direction of motives, drives, rationalization, and attitude is learned from the legal codes as being favorable or unfavorable. So like for example, the use of marijuana. So it is favorable if its uses as cure to some diseases. But it is unfavorable kung sumusobra na po yung paggamit natin ng marijuana. So next is a person becomes delinquent because of an excess of definition favorable to violation of law over definition unfavorable to violation of law. So okay lang na madami kang sinasabi daw sa ibang tao, pero as long as kaya mong i-prove, kasi kung hindi mo kayang i-prove, nakaka-violate ka na ng law. Kasi kapag marami kang sinasabi dyan, pero hindi mo naman kayang i-prove, wala kang evidence. So, ibig sabihin, there is a huge possibility na maka-violate ka po ng law. So, differential associations may vary in frequency, duration, priority, and intensity. So, when we say intensity, degree of respect of a person which gives to a role model or associate. Gaano ba kabigat or kagrave yung offenses. Next is the frequency. Gaano kadalas nangyayari. Duration is the time or yung oras ng pangyayari. Priority refers to when the behavior has been introduced. So ano ba yung kailangan nating i-assess? Ano ba yung kailangan nating unahin? So next, learning delinquent behavior involves the same mechanism involves in any other learning. Na hindi lang po tayo mag-stick sa isang mechanism na meron tayo, but rather, kailangan nating mag-aral ng iba't ibang mechanism or techniques in doing illegal behavior. Next, criminal behavior and non-criminal behavior are expression of the same needs and values. So meaning, hindi lang siya natututunan through observation, pati na rin po dahil sa mga techniques na ginagawa nila. And another thing na dito po sa number 9 natin, in terms of criminal behavior and non-criminal behavior as a means of expression with the same needs and values, na ang pagiging criminal po ay may mga wants yan. Hindi sila gagawa kung wala po silang wants or wala silang makukuhang benefits. Same thing, if you are non-criminal, meron ka ding mga wants. May mga needs ka din na gusto mong makuha. That is why kasama po siya sa principle ng DAT natin or differential association theory.